Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here, and I am here to do a review of a movie that I was supposed to review last year. If you guys remember, last year on September 7th, that was the day that an agent of the domestic terrorists came to our house thinking that they were going to do an inspection of the house. And, we were like, what's that about? And they're like, oh, we're taking your house away and destroying it. We're going to destroy this historical landmark, this historical piece of property so that we can build houses next to the school that we helped fund. So it basically all revolved around the school, which was hilarious because then, months later, they kill a teenage girl and injure her teenage friends, and it's like, oh, you really care about the kids a lot. Wink, wink. And, but it was funny because we were like, well, how are we supposed to know about that inspection? Oh, well, we were supposed to have gotten a letter in the mail. Just a little standard letter that everyone would get. And we didn't check the mail because, it had just been the Labor Day weekend, a holiday weekend, and we were not, checking the mail every single day. And so that was September 7th last year. I had already started watching Ben and Arthur the previous day. I started watching it late at night, and I was thinking, I'll just watch this tomorrow. And then that happened, and I was like, I'm not doing a video. Safi wants to do a video. She can do a video. I'm not. And, I said that I would finally review it, and I felt like this day would be the perfect day. I know it's not September 7th. That's because we had to do MasterChef yesterday. But I did a lot of things that were similar to that day, too. I got fried chicken just like I got that day. I got some protein bars. I have some G Fuel coming, caffeine-free with the anxiety disorder. Of course. And so I felt like it would be a real important thing to review this movie and just get it over with, because it's just a movie at the end of the day, and frankly it's not even a movie worth talking about very much because there are so many other movies that are better, or movies that are, indie movies or good bad movies. This is a very obscure movie, and Safi already went in through the plot ad nauseum. If you listen to her review, I hope you didn't fall asleep. She probably explained the whole movie. I'm not going to do that because I don't, if you're watching this video, you go check out her review or go watch the movie, because I don't really want to go through it. It's a very cliche, stereotypical plot. I just want to talk about my review of the movie and then my conclusion to the whole House saga, because it is going to be concluded for now. I will say. For now. Terrorists, they can win the battle, but they're not going to win the war, let's just say. And that, that's always my motto for everything. If you lose one battle, that doesn't mean you're going to lose all the battles in the future. And that I think I learned that by playing video games. I really used video games as a way to complete things and learn how to have patience and just keep on failing over and over and over again until I defeat whatever boss or level. I learned that through playing video games. And so that's all I'll say for now. and then at the end I'll do a little conclusion. So anyways, rest in peace to that girl who was killed by a worker associated with the domestic terrorists. And I hope that her friends are doing better. It's just too bad that that had to happen because of a greedy family that pretends like they're the what would you call them? Like pioneers? Like they think they're the pioneers of Beaver Creek when they literally aren't. Like factually, like they have nothing to do with Beaver Creek other than having a center that and this is how bad they are, guys. This is how like little they are in comparison to like what they actually think about themselves. The center that they own, is the one where I graduated high school. It houses 10,000 people for an event, for any type of event. Well, I have 2 videos on this channel, myself alone. One of them has 23,000, one of them has 26,000. So yeah, that whole center thing that they have in town, not impressive. And the movie that I was supposed to watch that day, honestly, I'm glad I waited to watch it, even though I don't like doing reviews while I have this anxiety disorder, because as you guys can tell, it affects my voice and it affects my ability to completely go all in when reviewing. It's kind of like another obstacle to go through. But it's getting better, at least. But this movie, man, it was just... it was funny, I guess, kind of. It's not one of the funnier good, bad movies. It's more so, kind of dull, and it just kind of runs right by you. The plot is really cliche, as I said. I think that the thing that I really didn't like about this movie is that the tone. You can tell from the very beginning how negative the main guy who made the movie. It's all about how he's angry, and how the movie is essentially equivalent to if he had made a YouTube video saying, "This is what it's like to be gay. This is why I'm angry." And it's fine to add personal stuff to movies. It's fine to star in movies that you make. But to make it this personal, where it's not even a good plot, a good story, the characters are trash. I mean, there's no likable character in the movie. The main character, he's kind of a jerk. He's kind of a diva. He always makes this face throughout the movie where he's got this pouty face, and he's just always making that face every single scene. He hardly ever smiles the whole movie. He hardly ever laughs unless it's a sarcastic laugh or his partner, Ben, he's an abuser. He punches Arthur in the face at one point. Or is that Arthur? I can't remember. Whatever. He's abusive, and he married a girl even though he's gay. He's not likable either. The brother, obviously, he's the villain of the movie. He's not likable. In fact, with him it's funny because he's probably the most flamboyant guy in the movie next to Arthur himself. He's you can tell that he's probably he's gay in real life, and so he's playing this character that's a stereotype that he's built up in his mind. And that's another thing. A lot of these characters are stereotypes, and it's weird that, you have this chance to tell this personal story. And instead of telling a really personal, emotional story, you just tell a story with a bunch of stereotypes. Very strange. And I'm trying to think of as I said, negativity, it affects movies. It affects work. It affects everything. And so I just wish that the guy who made this movie, that he didn't have all this negativity. When you have negativity and anger, you don't want to do what this guy did where he directed it into the movie. He made it a part of the movie. He said, I'm angry about this. Which, by the way, he is right to be angry about a lot of the stuff, not being allowed to get married to his partner, whatever, at the time. There's still people who think that gay marriage is wrong. There. If you guys remember my memoir, my comedy memoir, The Questionable Crush. I didn't mention it in the book because I was trying to be nice. There was this day where I was making up a quiz in history class, and she was making up some sort of project where she had to present her made-up political platform to the teacher. And right off the bat, she said, I would oppose gay marriage because I think it's between a man and a woman. And you could just see, I think the teacher, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to, whatever, but he looked right at me when she said that, it was like a Jim from The Office moment. He was like, oh, God. He likes her, and, I really liked her. But, some people, they still have that belief, even though it's now legalized. And so, I'm not saying that he didn't have the right to be angry. But when you take your anger and you channel it in such a way that you made this movie, you can see the result. I mean, what was the result of him making Ben and Arthur? He's a joke. I mean, he looks like a Oblivion NPC already. He could have made himself a likable character, but he chose not to. He chose to make this angry, negative, dark tone movie, and so now people laugh at him. And they just look at his movie on YouTube and say, ha ha ha, joke's on you, buddy. At the same time, it is fun to watch movies like this because you can kind of try to learn lessons about what not to do when you make a movie at this level. That was my whole goal in doing this bad movie week last year, is that I was trying to pick the most infamous examples and learn a lesson from all of them. I think the lesson that I take away from this movie is just not to channel anger into art. Because you can still be angry and use it to make good art. People have done that since the beginning of time. But when it actually invades your artwork, like this movie, that's when it becomes a problem, So, the ending too sucked. I mean, this is why I don't watch a lot of gay movies, and I know that sounds mean, but a lot of gay movies always end with this Debbie Downer ending where everybody dies, or the gay people die, or they're forced to live unhappily or something. And it's I don't care. I want to watch a good movie and not have to worry about this crappy, negative Debbie Downer ending stuff. My favorite scene of the movie is probably still a year later the scene where he's trying out to be a stripper and he's dancing without any music on, and then the strip club owner is like, all right, let's see your you know what, and then he leaves. That was really, really funny, even a year later. So overall, I would recommend like not watching this movie because it's just kind of like a, what I would compare this movie to in terms of food is like a cold piece of Papa John's pizza. It's like, let's be honest, we've all been at a point where we've had a leftover cold piece of Papa John's pizza in the fridge, and we debate, should we eat that for breakfast or lunch or not? Well, you could, but I prefer like something hot, like eggs, oatmeal, something really nice and hot. Or for lunch, you could make mac and cheese, you could have a sandwich, you could have anything you want, just don't pick up that cold piece of Papa John's pizza. Unless you're really in the mood for it and you're just so lazy you don't want to make anything. That's this movie. It's like the ultimate lazy, funny, cold pizza that you can eat and be like, this is a lazy day. And that's that. My conclusion about the House saga is this. Even though an act of domestic terrorism was committed with the destruction of this house, and by the way, they haven't even done anything yet. They haven't done anything. Anything. We could have still been in there this year. So even though that horrible thing happened, even though that girl died in December, literally 3 days away from my birthday, which is another, you look at stuff like that and you go, It's like a message. It's trying to tell you something. That, that's a bad place. That was a bad area. And even though that stuff happened, I will say, there's no way in hell I could have gone through this anxiety disorder at that house. No way. It's made it a lot easier to go through that sickness here, where I am right now, for various reasons. Like just thinking about walking up those stairs. I mean, remember the stairs, guys, from that house? I showed them to you. They're very, very steep, old school stairs for, real people, like adults. I would not have been able to go through that at that house with this anxiety disorder. Like, you guys see how much of a struggle it is. Just imagine doing that at that house is just, I couldn't even imagine it. Like, honestly, like, that would have been hell. That would have been, like, the worst. And so I guess the conclusion is like a realization from me that the reason why I had to get to this place is so that I could go through this sickness. That was the big reason. It wasn't about filming the movie and about, it would be cool if there was a second room, and so it's like, it switches back and forth, because that doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's stupid. Like, it would have been better to have continuity and have the same room. And so I was trying to think, like, why this place? Why did it have to happen? And now I know why. Because I guess I had to have this sickness. And And so that gives me a little bit more of a sense of like, yay, like it's not as frustrating as it was last year when it was like, why the fuck is this happening? So anyways, that's my conclusion for that saga for now. For now. So please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought of Ben and Arthur. This video wasn't even really about the Ben and Arthur movie because there's really not much to say. I mean, all the jokes that can be made have been made. But I just think that the perspective of the anger and the art really is important too, because there are a lot of movies like these feminazi movies like Barbie. That's all Barbie was just women complaining for 2 hours, crying and being victims. That's all this movie was. It was Ben and Arthur crying and complaining for 2 hours. And there's something that needs to be said about that. And how it's trash. And it makes for trash movies. And just because the movie makes money doesn't mean jack shit. And then please subscribe to this channel if you'd like to watch more honest movie reviews. Tomorrow, Safi and I will be reviewing Oblivion 2 Backlash. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.